Tonight on KGW News, as a childhood home goes up in flames, a mother scrambles to save herself and her daughter trapped inside.
And the smoke was black, and she saw my mom's hand reaching through the fire.
Plus, the Sunday market authorities say sold weed, shrooms, and cocaine. How a man allegedly turned this Gresham property into an illegal shopping experience. And later, sounding the alarm on a buzzingly bad environmental problem.
I had about a 60% die out. Friends, 85% die out.
How Northwest researchers and farmers are dealing with a big drop in numbers when it comes to bees. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. We begin at 11 with a big bust by federal agents of what they have dubbed the Portland Sunday Market, a farmer-style market in Gresham, though one they say swapped out fresh fruits and vegetables, local cheese, and homemade jams for lots of illegal drugs. Alma McCarty has the details of a year-long investigation, including an arrest. Alma?
David, as first reported by the Oregonian, officials named the suspect as 46-year-old Kevin Olson. He faces federal gun and drug charges following his arrest for operating what was known as the Portland Sunday Market.
At the end of a rural road in Gresham, federal agents say the so-called Portland Sunday Market would set up shop. Neighbors on the normally quiet gravel street tell us they weren't quite sure what was happening here, at least not the full extent of it. The Drug Task Force spent more than a year working to figure that out. Investigators likened the event to a farmer's market, though they determined the items for sale were illegal drugs, with vendors selling everything from weed and ketamine to psilocybin mushrooms, LSD, and cocaine. On Sunday, they seized the drugs and arrested the suspect, Kevin Olson, believed to be operating the market. While investigators executed warrants in Gresham, they also searched the suspect's home out here in Boring, where they found, they say, lots of guns and ammo. Federal agents and state police forced their way into a gun safe, finding pistols, revolvers, and rifles, plus even more firearms hidden around the home. According to court documents, both locations had active illegal marijuana growing operations, the larger of the two back in Gresham, with a total of 973 plants.
The suspect, a convicted felon, was arrested on 2 federal charges, maintaining a drug-involved premises and a felon in possession of a firearm. He is behind bars in the Multnomah County Jail. David?
Yeah, wild story. Appreciate your reporting. Thank you, Alma. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a man was convicted of manslaughter today in what an Oregon State Trooper called one of the most destructive crashes he has ever seen. Investigators say Fullington William Fraser III was high on psilocybin mushrooms at the time. Authorities say he was driving in Milwaukee December of 2023 when he ran a red light going 60 miles an hour and hit 2 other vehicles. His roommate, a passenger, was thrown from the car and died. The driver of one of the other cars was also killed. Well, tonight we have some new information on a shooting in Hillsborough that we brought you as breaking news last night at 11. This happened around 8:30 near Northeast Cornell and 17th. One person was shot, though should survive. Police say, though, after several hours-long search, they arrested 3 minors. They're now charged with attempted murder and assault. And a man who allegedly shined a laser into the eyes of local Tesla workers is now facing criminal charges. According to court documents, this happened Saturday at the Tesla dealership on Portland's South Waterfront during a so-called Tesla takedown protest. This afternoon, Davis Nafshon pleaded not guilty to charges that include 2 felony counts of unlawful use of a weapon. The DA's office says employees reported vision problems after being hit with the laser. All right, let's take you outside on this, the first day of April, and true to the saying, we're already had our share of showers, so right here's to hoping for some sunshine at some point. Chief Meteorologist Matt Spino tracking the rain and when we might see a break. Hey there, Matt.
Hey, David. Yeah, and we've got both showers and sunshine in the forecast, and not so much in the same day till after the weekend. Look at the clearing we had today. Great time lapse from our Skycam over in the Dalles. In Portland right now, it is cloudy, of course, and temperatures holding at 50 degrees at the moment. There's no rain falling on us at this time. Doppler radar showing that the only showers really to speak of are up around Mount Hood, some snow showers there. few sprinkles out along the coast, but nothing major at the moment. That will change as we go into the overnight hours, and especially during the midday hours tomorrow, as those April showers will pick back up. I think the morning commute likely dry, the afternoon commute likely wet, so plan accordingly for that. Now, the good news is if you like it warm and dry, we clear out as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday. After morning fog on Thursday, it turns sunny, and we've got warm weather ahead, especially on Friday and Saturday. Rain likely to return after that. Now, we have started a new month. As you mentioned, the month of April began today, and the average high climbs this month quite a bit in April, as you would expect, from 59 today to 66 by the end of the month. Sunshine, yeah, we get more of that. 7:39 sunset today, 8:16 by the end of the month. And as far as the rainfall goes, we'll compare April to the month of March, the month we just finished. About 4 inches of rain on average. April, it drops by about 25%. So we typically have much drier weather and more of it as we go through the month of April. But again, we got to get through some showers. We'll talk about those again in just a bit. David, back to you.
Hey, gotta love those later sunsets, though. Thanks so much, Matt. Tonight, an Astoria mother is recovering in the hospital and being hailed a hero after she saved herself and her adult daughter from their burning home. Daisy Caballero explains how they barely made it out alive.
I'm so grateful. I mean, the fact that they made it out there alive.
This is what's left of the Colin family home in Astoria after it caught fire early Friday morning, burning to the ground with Mom Sally and her adult daughter Shelby barely getting out alive.
And the smoke was black, and she saw my mom's hand reaching through the fire. And she grabbed her hand. My mom was engulfed in flames.
Sarah Colin says her mother was sleeping in the living room next to her fireplace and her sister in the basement. The two quickly tried to come up with a plan to get out, but the front door to the house jammed.
She sat down and she looked at my mom and she said, "Mom, we're gonna die in here. I can't get out." And my mom said, "The hell we're not," and got up with all her burns and just pushed through the door and saved her and my sister's life.
But their pets didn't make it out alive. Both women were transported to the Columbia Memorial Hospital. Shelby was discharged with minor scratches and bruises, but Sally suffered second and third degree burns, mostly on her back. She is now at the Legacy Burn Center in Portland and awake after a medically induced coma.
She was intubated. She isn't able to talk that well right now. She's still in a lot of pain.
Sarah says her mom is still processing what happened, including the loss of her beloved home of 32 years, where Sarah and her sister grew up.
She has nothing. That was her everything, and this was a childhood home. It was more than a place. It was really, my mom especially had an emotional connection, a really deep emotional bond with this home, and it was really part of her identity.
Sarah says her mom will remain at the burn center for a couple of weeks and will need to be moved to a rehabilitation center. She has started a GoFundMe page to help with those expenses. We have that link on our KGW page. As for the cause of the fire, that hasn't been determined. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
New tonight, we have projected winners this evening in a trio of elections, the first under the new Trump administration. So let us start in Wisconsin, where Democratic-backed Susan Crawford was called as the winner of a state Supreme Court seat over former Republican AG Brad Schimmel. Her victory, despite Elon Musk spending millions to back her opponent, allows liberals to maintain their narrow majority on that battleground state's highest court. Okay, meanwhile, in Florida, NBC News projecting Trump-backed Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis will take former Congressman Matt Gaetz' seat, defeating Democrat Gail Valamont. And in Florida's 6th District, Republican State Senator Randy Fine is projected to win the seat formerly held by Mike Waltz, the president's national security advisor. The results show Democrats they're outperforming in the districts the president won by at least 30 percentage points. Interesting developments. And speaking of Trump's second term, tonight business owners and consumers across the country are bracing for yet another hit from the White House, with President Trump on Wednesday set to announce a slew of so-called reciprocal tariffs, including on America's closest allies and trading partners. Julie Sirkin has the latest from Washington.
Because they know I don't play games.
On the eve of what he calls Liberation Day, President Trump is getting ready to unveil his new plan for tariffs. Taxes on imported goods on every country.
Whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were.
While the president says he has a plan, the size and scope are a mystery, and the uncertainty could lead to higher prices for most U.S. industries. But a majority of Republican lawmakers are standing with Trump.
Most of the concern, I represent an agricultural business, so most of the concern is actually retaliation against the export of American agricultural products. I have some concern, but look, I think the president's broadly doing the right thing.
The president's a business person.
Many businesses, though, already feeling squeezed by tariffs imposed last month. From the cost of cars to the price of wedding gowns, you may even have to dig deeper to say yes to the perfect dress.
Some designers have already sent us tariff costs, and some have decided to hold off on that.
And as markets react to the tariff impact, workers brace for more cuts across the federal government, this time at Health and Human Services, including the Centers for Disease Control and the Food and Drug Administration. Employees stood in line for hours outside this HHS building in Maryland, only to find out they no longer have jobs when their security badges didn't work. It's part of HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr.'s push to reshape the public health infrastructure.
I rise tonight because I believe sincerely that our country is in crisis.
Meanwhile, Democrat Cory Booker taking a literal stand on the Senate floor. He began speaking Monday night just after 7 p.m. and continued well into Tuesday, shining a spotlight on what he calls a grave and urgent threat from the president's actions.
Julie Sirkin reporting there. Senator Booker eventually broke the record for the longest floor speech in history, clocking in at 25 hours and 4 minutes. He did not leave the Senate floor, didn't even use the restroom, and had support from some of his Democratic colleagues, including Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, who joined in. It's sad news out of Hollywood tonight, where actor Val Kilmer has died. According to his family, the Top Gun and Batman star passed away from pneumonia. Kilmer had recovered after being diagnosed with throat cancer in 2014. He was perhaps best known for his role as Iceman in Top Gun, a role he reprised in the 2022 sequel. Val Kilmer was 65 years old.